Hey, Kat, how are you? I'm doing pretty good. I'm a little concerned about a couple of things going on the internet. Some motives by some people, some actions by another. The motives behind those actions. Hey, Corbett. Hey, Flying Without Wings. Oh, yeah, I'm always good. Hey, Flying Without Wings. No, I checked for ghosts, but I don't see any. I got an audio clip to play, which, when I heard it, I was outraged. Not the fake outrage that you see everywhere on TikTok, but real outrage. Right. Uh, Pathetic. Not that Jenna Bish did not do this. I can't even play that into any words. She didn't do it. Hey, Gemini, how are you? I blame for this audio clip. I blame everybody that has ever spoken out about a particular thing. On a side note, I also have to blame people for their own emotional outburst. So let's not forget a year ago, a little over a year ago now, when when somebody got caught on Grinder and went on a full on racial and homophobic rant on TikTok. And the person that caught them on Grinder left the app for like 2 weeks. So, to go into detail about that story, T caught her husband on Grinder, uninstalled it off his phone, and then people found out, and then he went on a full N-word, hard R, F slur rant behind her while she was live. It's okay, Mr. T. I would swipe left. But other people might swipe right. They'll deny it and the video will pop up. I do want to play this though. Since all 34 of us are here, Let me know what you think of this.
She sent me this message after I said, why are we even entertaining anybody that, said to somebody that they're a N-A-G-G-E-R. Hold on, 2 seconds.
Did that come through? Ain't that something? Not that, Jenna. Not that word. Not spelling that word. Is she going to say, context everybody? Is she going to say, well, I didn't say it, I spelled it? That was Rutina, by the way. And that's what she, listen to the accent that she puts on the ER too. Like, she really means it.
She sent me this message after I said, why are we even entertaining anybody that, said to somebody that they're a N-A-G-G-E-R. Hold on.
She put extra emphasis on that R. Right, we all know she says it when she's not on live. Let's be for real. She don't stop herself and spell it. In life. In her box was Bree, Queen of All Blessings, CJ, somebody with a Superman profile picture, and somebody else. I don't know who that is. Did you know there was zero correction? There was zero outrage. There was zero, oh my God. How could you ever say that? How could you ever spell that? Hey, SJ, how are you? I believe it was in Breeze Live, so whoever would go to Breeze Live. But I seem to remember something very particular where I said context. And I got my ass chewed up. I got tore up. And everybody's just like, no, there's no excuse ever for any of that. Okay? Well, let's see that energy given back to the people that you like. I'm doing pretty good. On a side note, I was digging back in the video vault and I found a live I recorded a while back. And I just like put it in the Miss Sunshine category. And she is ripping ass and picking her nose and all this shit. And I am going to love to release that here soon. The recap is, this is what Rutina said in front of all the people that have been outraged before.
2 seconds. She sent me this message after I said, are we even entertaining anybody that, said to somebody that they're a NAGGER. Hold on, 2 seconds.
Miss Sunshine, Karma. That was Ratita that said that to her. If it is an example that is so clear that they don't care, anything that they say is just to have outrage, is just to attack somebody. I don't think they know their own morals. Hey, librarian, how are you? I think they just say and do what they want and then turn around and say, well, we don't like this person, fuck them. I'm going to play that clip one more time, and then I'm going to talk about another topic.
He sent me this message after I said, why are we even entertaining anybody that, said to somebody that they're a NAGGER. Hold on, 2 seconds.
Yikes. So I'm going to talk about why Smashley is racist and has a racist ideology. Maybe Smashley's racism isn't deep rooted. Maybe it's just on the surface and she can exercise it quickly. When I call Miss Unknown a crackhead, I see that as no different than me calling Lisa Richards a crackhead, which I've done many times. I like Lisa Richards. I've never went back on that. I've always liked Lisa Richards. But Smashley turning around and saying, well, he calls Miss Unknown a crackhead, so he's racist. Smashley, that's giving that you believe that only African American people smoke crack. Okay? My terminology for a crackhead can be Lisa Richards, a person that I like, Miss Unknown, a person that I'm not a fan of, my family, some of which I like and some of which I don't. So every time Smashley says, Florida man's racist because he called Miss Unknown a crackhead, remember, all she's saying is that she don't believe white people smoke crack. Equality across the board has been shown by example by me, by calling Lisa Richards a crackhead, Miss Unknown a crackhead, liking one, not liking another, calling my own family crackheads, and liking some and not liking others. Hey, Queen. How is that? What? SJ. Hey, Mush. I'm not sure. So when I call Miss Unknown a crackhead, Smashley wants to drag it and be like, oh, he's racist because he said it could be racist. Can it be racist? It can under specific circumstances and the way that Smashley is portraying it. When you're not taking somebody's entire history and putting it into light, and you're only nitpicking one part because Smashly believes that only African American people smoke crack. I believe people of all races smoke crack. I actually believe the majority, white people, smoke crack. So when Smashly says Florida man's racist because he called Miss Unknown a crackhead, look at the underlying thought of that. And remember, I don't use that term specifically for one race. I use it for all. I've even said I'd rather smoke crack with Lisa Richards than Unknown. I even said Miss Unknown isn't even my favorite crackhead on the app. That goes to Lisa Richards. So, where's the race in that? Like, who's putting the race? Smashly is injecting race, as she has done many times before, with her, racially charged "kiss my white ass." That I was in a box and I told her that was racially charged. That she needs to watch, where she inserts race into insults, where she inserts race in general. Right, SJ. That is an example of selective outrage. And it's demeaning a whole race when Smashly does it like that. It just is. There's no excuse to take an insult that is directed to an individual's activities and apply it to an entire race, Smashly. It sucks for her. It really does, because she should be more open-minded. She should be less focused on race like she is, and more focused on what's true, like she's responsible for the contribution to a man's death. Legally, when you look it up, she is. The same with Holly Mae, who sounded really fucking concerned. I mean, I don't know if she was just like, hey, that has real life effects on people, but look at your friend Smashly throwing that P3DO out there at me twice. Does that not have real life consequences? Could that not? Look at your friend Ratina, who everybody was so outraged when someone else, because it was someone else. But nobody's willing to give that same energy back.
She sent me this message after I said, why are we even entertaining anybody that, said to somebody that they're a NAGGER. How nice. She sent me.
I want to see the same energy given to Regina by the people who gave it to other people. Hey, bad dog. Isn't that a little two-faced? Isn't that a little hypocritical of people to say, because I don't like you, I'm going to make this a big deal? And then turn around and not say a word to anybody else. It shows where their morals lie, and it shows what values they actually have. It shows what they think of people that they associate with. TikTok isn't about who can tell the truth. It's about who can twist something to attack somebody the most. I can be calm, logical, let's have a discussion, Florida man, about, and then I can be like mean. I'm going to get my point across and be loud and continue to push the point. I can make memes about how Regina, Holly Mae, and Smashley are responsible for contributing to the death of an individual. I can post case law from other cases where individuals incited people to attack other people, which caused their death not from physical contact from any of those people, but the mental that caused an action which resulted in a death. There is case law out there for that. And sad news for them. When there is case law out there for that, that's a bad sign if you've done it. We can look at every time that they've spoken up about racism, and we can pick it apart and see why. And look at their own actions and their own friends' actions and see, well, they never spoke out about that because they were useful to them, right? Rutina, spelling it out with the ER, I find unacceptable. That makes me think she says it in life when nobody else is around. She just caught herself and spelled it. Smashley, claiming that I am racist because I called Miss Unknown a crackhead, shows racism up front in her own mind. Because never did I associate crack use with Miss Unknown's race. I associated with her activities, as I did Lisa Richards, as I've done many others. Smashley is the one injecting race into it. So I think Smashley has to do a little bit of research. Because with her saying that I'm a racist because Miss Unknown smokes crack, Smashley might just think that only African American people smoke crack, which is completely incorrect. Nowhere in my argument of Miss Unknown as a crackhead have I ever said race. But Smashley likes to go there. So that really puts her racial issues up front. Right, they will not call Regina out for that. I will call Regina out for that, though. And I will call every single one of them out for that because I got clips. Everybody who's ever called anybody out on behalf of them, Regina, Holly Mae, any of that, where you at calling Regina out? Does that mean it's okay to spell the word? Is that the example that we're setting right now? As long as you spell it to somebody, it's okay, right? You didn't say it, you spelled it. Is that semantics? Or am I splitting hairs? Bitchy witch with a crack? Absolutely. I agree with that. I even said earlier, even here in the United States, I believe I've seen more white crackheads than anything. I haven't done any research on it. Let's do some research on it before, I get clipped and they're like, oh, well, he's just talking out of his ass. Well, here's this for 2025. Here's the statistics, everybody. White, 16.9%. Hispanic, 11.6%. And black, 9.7%. Smash Lady. Do you just stay in your shed all day and not walk outside? Because if you walk outside, you can see plenty of white crackheads. Or are you just twisting stuff for TikTok and letting your internal racism come out? When you take an argument that has nothing to do with race and you sit on your little platform and you inject race into it and try to make people look like shit, you end up looking like shit in the long run, and you know that, Smashley. You know you're not smart, Smashley. You can't have an intelligent conversation. We've seen that. You resort to insults and you cry like a child and you call people pathetic and you run away and go sit on your little platform because guess what? You're in charge over there, and that's what you've always wanted but never had anywhere else. So you can sit your little ass in your racist shit. Insert race into whatever you want. Just like the time you said kiss your white ass, I got into a box and I told you inserted race, you injected race, you racially charged that insult. You have an issue of doing that. You have a habit of doing that. And whatever your reasoning is for inserting race into whatever you say, that makes you, Smashley, racist. You're the one focused on it. You're the one trying to rile people up about it. Smashley is the one that is bringing race into a topic where race was never even mentioned. She'll say, again, Florida Man said it could be considered racist. Is there a stigma from the 80s? Yes. There is. But it could be considered racist when people like Smashley try to push that stigma by continuing to say, oh, well, he's racist because he said she smokes crack and that's her race. Smashley, you're the one perpetuating the stigma. You're the one perpetuating the racism. You're the one putting it out there that you think only black people smoke crack. Because that is exactly what you're saying. By trying to paint people who are obviously not racist out as a racist. Where was Smashley when Boss Hog was dropping the hard R? She wasn't in his box. Must mean she was in his DMs. Where's Smashley calling out Regina for spelling it out? No, they're too worried that I'm right. That they are responsible for contributing to that man's death. And you're seeing them just spiral out of control. Smasher's going to sit back and be like, oh, I got 300 people in here and he's got 34. Okay, well, these 34 people understand logic. Not 300 who are gaslighting Smashley on to be a fucking dickhead. We'll talk about T's husband for a second, too. They got mad at me because I said that T's husband spends less time on Grindr than T spends on TikTok. And that ignited that reaction of he's going to stomp a woman's head in and on video and all that. You did better, Mr. T, than last year. Okay? We have to give Mr. T credit for not spiraling out into a racial homophobic rant while T was on live and everybody heard it, where he dropped the hard R several times. He dropped the F slur several times because he got caught on Grindr by T. So let's give him credit where credit is due. And at least he didn't take it racial or homophobic this time. That's progress. There's still more progress to be made. But at least he didn't go there. And for anybody who forgets that, that's when T left the app for 2 weeks last year. The video's there. Sometimes you got to press a button to see if they're going to do it again. And they do. It's still really a touchy topic. It's almost like T has trapped him in the closet and bolted the door shut. Mr. T, are you a hostage? It's okay to be who you are. Hell, half the time you can catch me live trying to hit on Monster's husband. Everybody's so insecure about themselves. Because everybody's worried about putting a label on everything. And what is Mr. T worried about? Not getting caught on Grindr. That's for sure. Because the last time that happened, I don't think that was good for anybody. Yeah. Just the other night, SJ, I was live being like, when I told you to send me any sort of sign of life, I really meant, even the helicopter and the text message. People are so insecure. And the funniest thing about it is when you can argue with somebody like Boss Hog, and you can say and insinuate, and they get so mad, but even Boss Hog can control himself when it comes to that and be like, all right, I know what you're trying to do. We're here about Boss Hog being racist, not Boss Hog's ability to control his homophobia. But T's husband can't. I don't know. I think Smashley is destined to sit with Boss Hog. She'll be the one that can insert race into everything for him. She'll be the one to take every negative stereotype and put it on the forefront, whether it's true or not. Good morning, Yorkie. But she's just fine with Rutina spelling it out. Everybody is, it seems. Not everybody, but the vast majority of the people who speak out about it seem to be okay with that. Why? Because it's Rutina? Because Rutina says it, it's okay. Because Smashley evokes a negative stereotype and makes something about race that was never about race to begin with. She won't have a conversation about it, even though boxes are open. She'll sit there on her little platform and she'll just spew her hate and fill the minds of the people that watch her with that stereotypical ideology. While Rutina sits next to her and spells it out. But who really does sit next to Smashley? Malibu. The woman who said Desi's baby's fake and then cried over a fake baby that she thought was fake. The baby's not fake. This is just Malibu's mindset. Why did she cry over a baby that she thought was fake? So she could be the cool one and call a wellness check on her and then continue to call the police back to try to see if the baby was real. When all you have to do is send Desi a text message and say, hey, how are you and your baby? Because her baby exists. So let me get this straight. They're okay with the use of racial slurs as long as they're spelled out. They're okay with racial stereotypes as long as they can attack somebody with them. And they're okay with going real life and calling wellness checks on people as long as it can prove their point. I ask if any of us did that, what would happen? What would happen if I were to spell it out? What would happen if Bougie were to spell it out? If Mittens were to spell it out? If anybody that wasn't quite on their side were to spell that word out, what would happen? If we're not sure of the word I'm talking about, here's Rutina to give an example.
You sent me this message after I said, why are we even entertaining anybody that, said to somebody that they're a N-I-G-G-E-R. Hold on, 2 seconds.
Now you can watch the rest of that video and see that there's no outrage. Nobody says anything. It's okay for all of them to attack people that sit with me. But it's not okay for me to attack anybody that sits with them. And the proof of that is Rutina saying, well, I knew who Artie was because she was a mod for him instantly. It was a random account that was a mod. Huh? Why are you watching the people I sit with? What they do to you? I've never encouraged, asked, demanded anybody to attack anybody. Well, encouraged. Yeah, I used to put receipts up, and that pretty much would be considered encouraging people. But I never did that, and I never encouraged people to the point where I was responsible for the passing of an individual. Regina, Holly Mae, Smashley. And here you guys continue. Smashley with her racist rhetoric, really trying to prove a point by saying somebody's racist because they called somebody a crackhead. But completely leaves out the fact that I call Lisa Richards a crackhead all the time. And white people can't experience systemic racism, Smashley. So when I do it to Lisa Richards, is it racist? Or is your friend spelling out the N-word with a hard R? Just her saying it from a text message. Just her example of it, of what was said. Hey, BFK, how are you? I'm doing good. Confused by behavior, for sure. How it's okay for people to spell out racial slurs. So what I'm taking from it is that it's okay to use as long as you spell it, right? That's what I'm learning. They believe. I believe it's not okay to use it, even if you spell it. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows my stance on it.
You sent me this message after I said, why are we even entertaining anybody that, said to somebody that they're N-A-G-G-E-R. Hold on, just 2 seconds.
Well, damn, Regina. Queen of Blessings, CJ, Bree, whoever has a Superman profile picture, and the other person there, and everybody in that chat. Damn. That's something. That's something for not a one of y'all to say nothing about it. For me to get this video, you know when I got this video? I got this video about 5 minutes before my ass went live. And just because it's Regina, everybody's like, oh yeah, it's okay. We're not going to say nothing. Watch, they'll be live in the morning and being like, well, bougie. Well, treat Regina the same way y'all treated bougie. That's all I ask. It's pretty simple. If you truly care about racism and that word, treat Regina the same way you treated bougie. And I'll treat Regina the same way that I treated bougie. With a conversation. And education. That's fair. Don't you guys think? Did they really think that I didn't have a conversation with bougie? Because I did. I wasn't going to hate her. Because context. But I want all of them who chose that conversation wasn't the way to absolutely fucking wreck Regina. To treat Regina in the exact same way. To take it out of context in the exact same way. Don't find context only when it's your friend. Because the example of that would be, I was good with Smashley when I took a box and I told her that when she said kiss my white ass to Queen E, I told her You inserted race into it, and it became a racially charged insult. And Queenie has every right to be upset about it if she wants. That's how she feels, and nobody can dismiss her feelings on that. That is your education to learn. And she didn't like that. But I was friends with her at the time, so hey, I call my friends out. Where are those videos? Where are those clips on the T pages? Allowing it to happen while inserting a racial stereotype into a situation where race was never even mentioned shows that Smashley, you don't see African American people as people. You see them as tools. You see the racial struggle as a tool for you to sit there and say, attack this person. That's not bettering them. That's making it worse. People like you, Smashley, you are why racism still exists. You are why racism is still growing. Because your racial rhetoric, inserting it into things that it doesn't need to be inserted in, just shows that if it benefits you, you'll demean a whole race. What race is next, Smashley? What race are you going to shit on to make somebody else look bad? What race are you going to point to and say, you think this about them, so it must mean this about somebody else? What part, Kat? If you would like to take a box, we can talk about it. Or the chat's fine too. It's just talking in a box is much more real time, and you don't get filtered if you say something that TikTok randomly filters. I believe that, SJ. Racism itself is terrible. It's a terrible issue. It's not meant to be used as a weapon against someone you don't like. I believe it does. I would like to say that, like Kat, if you have a differing opinion, I would love to hear it. I'm not one that's set in my opinions, and I feel hearing other people's opinions is important. If anyone has a differing opinion, I welcome you to a box. Right. Anyone who uses it like that doesn't care or see the bigger issue of racism. Take my whole open usage of the term crackhead and put it into perspective. I've not singled out a race with its use. I've used it across all races. Biggest example, again, Lisa Richards is white. Miss Unknown is black. My family is white. I believe I've even called Boss Hog. I said he looked like a crackhead. Rebel, he looked like a crackhead. Well, they're both white. So how can Smashley sit down and say, well, he's racist because he called Miss Unknown a crackhead? Excuse me, Smashley. Where was race in this until you put it in there? Until you put it in there by saying that. Smashley injecting race into a situation that did not have anything to do with race at all tells me that she wants to highlight a negative stereotype. Does me calling Miss Unknown a crackhead bother Miss Unknown? I hope. That's why I do it. Or does the fact that I call her a crackhead let her know that I have a picture of her crack pipe next to her ashtray when her camera slipped? You got to look at why people call people things. Not look at any reason you can to insert race into it, Smashley, like you've done many times. And I have people looking for clips of the times that Smashley has inserted race into insults that have created racially charged insults. The times that Smashley has abused the idea of being the head of a platform and painting people as something they're not. You have to look at the person as a whole, not just what you want people to think and take it and twist it and say, oh, he's racist. Smashley, I've spoke out about racism far more than you. Where's your videos about racism, Smashley? Smashley, if you know so much about it, I bet you won't have a conversation about it because you can't. I don't need to Google anymore during a conversation or for a conversation because I already understand it. I already see where it's wrong. I understand that it's a social concept. It's a structure that was built by white people to benefit white people. And I also know that white people can't experience systemic racism because there's not a structure built to keep white people down like there is other races. And that's why it's wrong. That's why you can't abuse it like that, Smashley. You're taking every single person that has experienced racism, you're minimizing it for your own gain, or at least what you think is a gain. And that right there is using racism to your advantage. You are spitting on everybody who has experienced it. It's disrespectful. And you should really be ashamed of yourself. And before you go and defend it and be like, oh, but he said it could be racist. Yes, I did say it could be racist. By people who use it like you, Smashley. Finish the sentence. The full context. So you should just apologize to everybody for being racist. Using racism to your advantage is just as bad, if not worse, than being racist yourself. You try to rile everybody up with those feelings, but you're spreading misinformation. You are spreading misinformation about what racism actually is. It's not a weapon to use for your advantage, because guess what? It is a weapon that people have used to their advantage to keep people down. Smashly, you're using it as it's intended to benefit yourself, and everybody has to see that. Everybody has to see that you are taking something as horrible as racism and using it to benefit yourself. In what way? You think if you say that I'm racist, Smashly, that people are going to believe you? You don't really think that out of your 300 random numbers, 290 of them are sitting there saying, let's make this bitch think that she's on top. And you got 10 of them who still want to do something with this, who still want you to be going in a better direction, saying, wow, she's being dumb. Because trust me, any real friend that you think you got right now is too busy calling a baby fake and then pretending she gives a fuck just to call a wellness check on that person for fun. Because that's all Malibu did it for. That's a good way to put it, Kat. That is. That she is using racism for her own personal vendetta. And I can see that. It minimizes the struggles and fights that people have had to have just to get the same treatment as others because of their skin color. Skin color is not something that people can control. There's not a character creation screen at birth that lets you pick your features, okay? There's just not. Nobody should be considered lucky to be born any color, anything. Everybody should be equal. Everybody should have equal rights, and nobody should have their race used against them, nor should they have it used against other people as a weapon to benefit somebody. Smash it. It's disgusting. Because when you're trying to harm the reputation of me, you're demeaning an entire race to try to do it. That's where conversation comes in, Cap. How am I using it for a personal conflict? Because if I'm using it as a personal conflict, this is my response to her using it for a personal conflict when she was trying to paint me as racist. Race was never in this. If you watch my live from last night, I said, well, I really don't think Smash is racist. But then I got clips. And the conversation must be had. Is she? If I can ask, where is race in my argument of actions that Smashley, Regina, and Holly Mae took resulted in a man passing away? And Smashley says, oh, he called Miss Unknown a crackhead, so he's racist, everybody look. I agree. When you are at odds with somebody and you call them a racist, it minimizes the point. So I ask again, my original argument was actions that Smashley, Retina, and Holly Mae took contributed in the death of an individual. Smashley's response is, he called Miss Unknown a crackhead. He must be racist. He's racist. Everybody look. And now I'm here trying to figure out why she would do that. Why she would demean a whole race. To minimize that plight. When I'm put into light that she killed a man. That she is responsible for his death just as much as Retina is, just as much as Holly Mae is. My argument was never about race to begin with Smashley. Well, Kat, what you just said to me, about it minimizing the plight and me trying to paint her as a racist, would that not go to her when my argument was not about race to begin with? Can she not answer the actual accusation of how she's not responsible for the man's death? Instead of trying to paint me as a racist so people don't listen to me, it goes, your argument's correct, but you have to apply it in every aspect. You see, when I'm not going at her for any race issue whatsoever, and she starts coming at me because she can't answer why she's not responsible for the man's death, and her answer is, he's racist. Ain't that weird? Ain't it weird that the same people that say, oh no, racism is wrong, and under no circumstance can you ever say that word, say stuff like this, Kat?
You sent me this message after I said, why are we even entertaining anybody that, said to somebody that they're a N-A-G-G-E-R. Hold on, 2 seconds.
To not speak out about that, like I am. That's Retina. That's another person that's with Smashley that's responsible for that man's death too. There's Holly Mae as well, who's also responsible for that man's death. Well, that's why I offered you $1. I would be able to, we would be able to talk it out in real time. Because when people are in the chat and like I'm up here talking, before you type out and send it, and then before it even pops up on my side, I might be 10 sentences ahead. You know what I mean? I might be on to the next point, and then I understand that. Why would that be? Well, I'm not even going to ask you why, because you know your safety levels, and you know what you got to do to stay safe, and you are free to do it, and I respect that. I will accommodate you in the chat then. You are not safe on the internet. Well, that's fair. Hey, I'm going to 5-second mute you, and then you can start talking to him, but don't say anything about that. That's just to get for anybody coming in, it'll remove the confusion of people asking questions or anything like that, and then you can just keep asking questions, stuff like that in the chat without mentioning anything like that. Because there's nosy fuckers on this side of the internet that'll be like, why? Let me look into this person. And they don't need to do that, because the last time they did that, they killed a man. And I will never stop saying it because it's true. when they take their vacation to Canada, I hope they have fun. But I'm going to explain the reasons why it is true, backed by research and factual information. So, I think we should all remind everybody that spelling racial slurs is not okay too. So, when I say that Holly Mae Rutina and Smashley are responsible for a man's death, contributing to a man's death, I mean that. Okay. So when you look at the laws and the statutes and stuff like that, what they did is something that happens quite a bit. Their defense, well, we didn't do it ourselves. Your words and your actions caused other people to act, causing other people to pass. And in Canada, what they did is called encouraging and assisting death, homicide, pretty much, in America. The criminal exposure depends on the facts behind it. We all seen the facts behind it yesterday, where they rallied the troops and spread harmful, like hateful misinformation to encourage people to get riled up to take action, where that effect heuristic shortcut in people's brains would think, oh no, I have a parasocial relationship with this person and they're in real danger and people are trying to get her killed, let me take action. That's what y'all did. Smashley, you allowed it on your platform. You were told, hey, take that off, don't do that. And you said, I don't dictate what you put up on your green screen. Yes, they were inciting 100% of the way, inciting violence. They may have meant it in a way where they just want online clout, but the results of their actions are still the results of their actions. Cyberstalking and harassment is the term if the conduct causes reasonable fear or substantial emotional distress. Oh no, you're free to listen and free to question. You're free to disagree. You're free to all that. And you're just as welcome as anybody else. Because we need diversity in opinions. Diversity in opinions means that we all ask questions and we all think about all sides about this point, that point, or the other point. It is important to have that. And I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying this is how I see it. This is what it is. Independent research is always encouraged. So, If the conduct causes reasonable fear or substantial emotional distress, that would be cyberstalking, cyber harassment, right? What would cause substantial emotional distress or reasonable fear? Would it be Holly Mae green screening somebody's DV story and what their abuser has done to them since? On Smashley's Live, Smashley being asked to take that off. She says no, blocks the person who asked, and then allows Holly Mae to scream, "They want to kill me. Oh my God, they want to kill me. They contacted my abuser." And when that's a lie, nobody did. And it's a proven lie because she can't produce evidence that she said she had and would. I think that would cause substantial fear and emotional distress on people. Now, involuntary manslaughter is rare. It's based off of facts, and it's specific to those facts where involuntary manslaughter would be a thing. It's where messages and acts are found to cause a death through reckless conduct. Would it be the reckless conduct would be getting up on a platform and lying to incite violence, incite emotional responses, to incite fear, to incite emotional distress in the viewers, to act. And that action resulted in a man passing. Would it be that? And would Smashley be liable for allowing that on her platform after she was warned right there while it was happening that, hey, that take that off? And she stopped and said, "You don't dictate what I put on my platform." Nice. So you can have some good input here, actually. Would Retina be responsible for putting that person's information out in the public several times right before this happened? That's something. There's involuntary manslaughter, which is also rare and very fact specific, where messages and acts are found to cause a death through some kind of reckless conduct. So, where that's the same one I just read. I promise I'm not on drugs. I just copied and pasted that to the notes choice. So, encouraging and assisting, the one thing that we do, people do it to themselves. I don't think it's that, because the end result wasn't that. But they also got to be careful of that too, because they keep going. I'm not. Why should I stop this? How long are they going to be obsessed over me? How long are they going to be obsessed over a woman like you say? So let's just point out the obsession they have. Retina is obsessed over Artie. Holly Mae is obsessed over Bougie. Smashley is obsessed over me. I called Smashley boring and she went on the all-out attack. Sounds like an obsession with me. Why is my response seen as obsession? Is it because it's right and they don't have a logical response, and I'm going to continue to logically respond to their illogical fucking ways? And what? Are they going to run out of steam, go into a corner, and be down to 11 views like Dennis before long? Is that why you're just like, stop? Be one of their 11 views. They had every opportunity to stop. They had every opportunity to stop before that man passed away. Understand that part. They had every opportunity to have a conversation before their actions caused a man to pass away. Now a man has passed away, and now somebody's going to speak about it, and that somebody's going to be me. Because if you weren't there, I'm not crashing and burning. Not at all. My lives are to discuss topics and facts of those topics and behaviors and traits of those behaviors. And this just happens to be a topic that I'm going to continue to reference until people see that their actions are just like theirs. I'm better than what? What's a better action? Letting them ignoring it, not putting the warning signs out there for people. Yes, let me be complacent and silent, right? Let me not point out that this is why especially saying this about other people. This is why Ratina says this to other people, but then does literally the exact same thing, if not worse. I will use my social skills in the way I please. I appreciate you. So what they do is called cyberstalking and online harassment. Sustained targeted conduct using electronic communication that reasonably causes fear or substantial emotional distress. And let me tell you, I have spoken to many people who have substantial emotional distress from people's behavior on this app. If for a second that anybody thinks that when they need a villain to build their platform on and they point at someone like Bougie and they say, well, they're such a terrible person. They've done all this and they've done all that and they've done all this. And it turns out they didn't. Why are they fighting to stay out of the corner? Stalking would be, I know everything about him. This is defense. This is speaking out against it. Using people who are doing it as an example. Oh yeah, I've done that. That's how I can speak on it. I speak from experience, from seeing where I've been wrong, from seeing where and admitting where I've been wrong. Mallory is the best example of when I did it. And I've spoken, and I continue to speak on that, and I continue to use that as an example because it's an example that I lived through. I'm not ashamed of my actions because actions can be changed. So can theirs. But the difference between my actions and Smashley's, Holly Mae's, and Rutina's is my actions didn't end up with somebody dying. Oh, I didn't get no grace when I was doing it at all. Hell, I didn't deserve any grace when I was doing it at all. So, there's that. And nobody doing it to me deserves any grace either. To the weird people who follow me around and talk about me constantly, why don't you go look at them? Unless you are them. Let's talk about all the false allegations that got put on me because somebody was afraid to tell the internet they smoke meth. Weird. Oh, these two backup accounts in here are, I believe there's somebody, but whatever. They're going to listen to it. They're like, well, don't you cyberstalk people. Oh, well, I've already talked about Mallory, how I was a bully to her. But we're talking about Ratina, Holly Mae, and Smashley, and how cyberstalking is a thing, and how it varies by state, what laws it is, and how involuntary manslaughter via communication is a thing. Because courts have found criminal liability where abusive and pressuring communications were a proximate cause of death, be it by stress, be it by the self-inflicted version, be it by driven to use of substances. You can have that opinion. You can have that opinion. Now, if I'm quiet about it, they feel better. And they say, okay, I don't have to think about that. But if I talk about it, they think, damn, they know what they did. They know what they did. Because I have the chats. Right. I'm not cyberstalking Holly Mae, Rutina, and Smashley. I was actually offline tonight, and I just have messages and clips of Smashley being like, he's a racist because he called Miss Unknown a crackhead. Isn't that, like, weird? I say she killed a guy because she did, and she tries to just ignore that and say he's a racist because he called Miss Unknown a crackhead. Then I get online and I point out various points as to why her argument is invalid, and I'm demeaning the plight according to some people in the chat, even though what they said applies directly to Smashley and they just want to apply it to me. And that's why it's funny, because what do I want to happen? What I want to happen is I wanted them to stop before that man died. And how am I downgrading a woman of color? Because I don't need to have shoes on. But how am I downgrading a woman of color? We'll do that. They won't take a box because it's probably Skittles. And you're not talking to anybody. If you're not talking to House of Lies, if you can't answer a question and you're going to be rude, your ass gets muted. So there you go. You're talking to everybody in here. Because everybody in here has an opinion. Everybody here is allowed to ask questions, whether they're aimed at an individual or not. Understand that, and then you can come back and talk. Because if it is Skittles and any of the other people, I don't deal with stupid no more. I don't deal with a gross, stalking, obsessive, just unreasonable behavior like that anymore. And that goes for any of those people. That includes Holly Mae, Smashley, and Regina, who are responsible for the death of a man. And, let's shine a light on Smashley again. We'll revisit that since House of Lies wasn't here. Smashley has a habit of race. Inserting race into things that are not race-based. The example? Telling Queenie to kiss her white ass. Where I took a box and I said, yes, you added race to it, so it became a racially charged insult. She didn't like that. I call Miss Unknown a crackhead. That has nothing to do with race. I call Lisa Richards a crackhead. That has nothing to do with race. But since Smashley wants to bring race into it and demean a whole race of people to try to make herself look better or to try to make somebody else look bad, you're really using racism to your advantage, Smashley. Or what you think is your advantage. You're demeaning a whole race to use it in an argument where that argument's not even about anything you're talking about. The fact that you contributed to a man's death, Smashley, does not mean that you have a valid response and I'm going to take this, twist it, demean a whole race and call him racist. Why? You don't want people to hear me out? You want people to think, oh yeah, I'm just not going to listen to that racist. That's what you thought. Well, where's your counter argument versus trying to deflect? Holly Mae, where's your counter argument? That ain't in people's DMs with shaky ass voices being like, this could cause real life consequences for me. Guess who doesn't have a real life anymore? The person that you contributed to his death. That's who don't have a real life anymore. Hey, Mother Moon, how are you? Rutina too. By putting the information out there.
She sent me this message.
And while we're on the topic of race, is this okay, anybody?
She sent me this message after I said, why are we even entertaining anybody that, said to somebody that they're a N-I-G-G-E-R. Hold on, 2 seconds.
Artie's abuser had died because, well, Holly Mae Rutina wanted to dox her. Smashley wanted to platform Holly Mae while she put Artie's DV story up there and incite people by saying they're trying to kill me by contacting my abuser and all of that. He was contacted by somebody. Nobody knows who yet. They will, though. And he attacked Artie's daughter, who then recorded it. He got arrested. And he passed away from stress, alcohol abuse, and an enlarged heart. There's no other contributing factor to stress than the fact that people on TikTok were incited by the irresponsible actions of Smashley, Rutina, and Holly Mae to incite people to get back at somebody else for doing something that they didn't do, that nobody did, because nobody contacted Holly Mae's abuser. She has a history of lying on people. Indian outlaw. She tried the same thing with him, and I'm glad, so glad, looking back on it, that nobody got hurt in that. Yes, that was Rutina. I will play that again.
She sent me this message after I said, why are we even entertaining anybody that, said to somebody that they're a N-I-G-G-E-R. Hold on, 2 seconds.
Now, in them boxes there was Bree CJ, Queen of Blessings, somebody with a Superman profile picture, somebody with an orange background, and somebody else. I don't know who that is. 0 outrage. 0, hey, that's wrong, Ratina. But yet, that goes to show that every single time anybody that heard that was there for it, didn't step up and say something, every single time they've ever said anything about racism, it means that nothing, because they've just demeaned their whole fight for it. So congratulations, all of you. You've shown that racism means nothing, and you use it as a weapon to try to harm people, not to show people that it's wrong. She's talking about a message that she got, and she's just repeating what was said in a message. Sounds familiar. I'll treat it the same way that I treated other situations with a conversation and education, but I want to see them treated the same way they treated other situations too, with fucking endless harassment, endless shit talk, endless shitting on that person. I want to see that, because we can all stick to who we are and treat situations the same as we have treated others. And if they don't, well, that's on them. Maybe I'll have to talk about that and see this reaction, how it folds out. So, Ratina, if you would like to have an educational conversation on why what you did was wrong, go ahead and reach out. I've given other people that educational conversation about why what they did was wrong, and I didn't hold it against them. And don't worry, after our conversation, I won't hold it against you either. I can't give you any advice for how who were your friends are going to relentlessly bash you and use it against you forever. I can't give you any advice on that, because I don't do that to my friends. But I'm also not your friend. I'll just give you the education and the talk and go from there and just watch you get fucking destroyed, right? Weird, the double standards that there are. What are they going to say? Spelling it's okay? It's not. Did you hear the twang that she put, the accent that she put on that? She made that R just that much harder with that. Nope. And the clip I got, she said nothing about it. And the clip I got was 2 minutes long. Well, let me tell you, if anybody in my box says stuff like that, yeah, I sure would say something. I said something in a similar situation. They do have to hold everybody to the same standards. I got a clip of Bree and Petty's live being like, talking shit about me and other people about Miss Sunshine. Like agreeing with Miss Sunshine. And I do have to point out, like, I appreciate Kendra for being like, for saying what she said. I got to put that out there. Kendra and I haven't always got along, but I can appreciate that she said what she said. She set people straight instead of the propaganda that was going to go around, and the whole Miss Sunshine is a credible source idea that people were going to do. At least Kendra seen that the person that she wants to have those spicy texts with was going to suffer eventually, because Sunshine's going to use that leverage and try to turn on him too. Kendra set Bree straight and Petty's box. And I know the spicy text thing might be a little it might sound offending, but I think it's funny. She set Bree straight in Petty's box and was like, "We got to look at the source of where that information is coming from. It's Miss Sunshine." I seen it. I'm like, damn, I couldn't fucking agree more. And to say it in Petty's box too. But Petty don't like Miss Sunshine. Petty knows that, he knows what he did. He knows about the commissary. Hey, Mallory, how are you? I want you to hear something, Mallory. And you don't have to give your opinion on it. But I think this is something that everybody should hear.
She sent me this message after I said, "Why are we even entertaining anybody that, said to somebody that they're a NAGGER?" Hold on, 2 seconds.
I am trying to get a time, but it's fairly recent because of who is in the box together. Once I get a message back, I will be able to put a time to it. But at the end of the day, I don't think time matters. Whether it was before other situations happened, that would just show the hypocrisy in a different light than if it was after. Because if it was before, nobody said anything, but then they're only using it to attack somebody else. And if it was after, well, it would show the same thing at the end of the day, just in a different light, just from a different perspective. She laughed at what? Well, the Miss Unknown thing is true. They are twisting it and involving race in something that nobody even said anything about race. Did nobody put together that, like, the universe is unknown, that extraterrestrial beings are unknown, aliens are unknown, like, we don't know anything about them? Like, did nobody put together the entirety of it? Then the E.T. joke where E.T. is her mother and all she wants is for her mother to phone home. Like, at what part in that whole thing was race even mentioned? Or did they just not get the joke? They've taken race and inserting it into something to try to take advantage of people who will just gaslight their asses. They're demeaning an entire race by inserting it into it and trying to weaponize it against people to make them feel better about themselves or to put them in a better position. But it doesn't put them in a better position. Is that what they're saying? Is they're saying that it's a monkey? That E.T. is a monkey? How are they doing that? the stupidity of people. And honestly, they got some balls. They do. They've got some balls to sit there and say that ET is a monkey. Yet they're not going to look at that Patreon chat who actually fucking did that. That gets a slide. That Patreon chat gets a slide from them, and they're going to twist it into anything else. You see what these people really think about racism. They're dangerous people. Or who, exactly. If they're going to try to say that, and they had 0 words to say about that Patreon chat doing that, you see what they're doing it for. Everybody sees what they're doing it for. Because that Patreon chat was disgusting. You know what I did when they were doing that in the Patreon chat? I went in and I posted Petty's charges in there. I went in, I posted Petty's starving dog in there. I went in and let them know about Petty. If they want to attack a woman using race, all them middle-aged white women who are obsessed with Petty, and I say white because they wanted to post the gorilla and as a quote, what they say is a joke or whatever, but it's not a joke, it's a straight up insult. Then I'll go in there and talk about Petty directly. My comments kept getting deleted though, but those other ones stayed. If you're going to be racist towards an individual, how about we talk about his child abuse charges? His dog. Look at his dog. The same people that are being racist towards friends with those pictures are the same people that say it's okay to not feed your dog, Petty, just because it's you. It's okay to beat your child, Petty, just because it's you. It's okay to lie about all of it, too. And to lie about being dishonorably discharged, just because it's him. And the people that are saying an extraterrestrial being, an alien, something from the unknown part of the universe, is a monkey, y'all are wild as fuck. Y'all are stupid. Like, your argument means nothing. It means nothing because it's so ridiculously twisted to be like, fuck that person. And you can twist your argument to be like, fuck that person. It won't work for me. I'll just tell you why it's wrong. I'll tell you why you're responsible for killing a guy, Smashley. Ratina. Holly Mae. You don't like that, do you? Because you know it's true. And I hope you don't sleep at night. Or in the daytime. Like you all do. I don't blame you, Mallory. I don't. There are times where I say, you know what? This argument just ain't worth it. But then I look at people with the intelligence level of Holly Mae, Smashley, and Ratina, and I say, you guys genuinely contributed to a man's death, and now you're calling me racist, and you're saying an alien is a monkey. You're saying that when I say Miss Unknown's a crackhead, it's because she's black, not because she is a crackhead. Because when I say Lisa Richards is a crackhead, it's because she's a crackhead. When I say my family is a crackhead, they're crackheads. You insert race, Smashley. You're racially charged arguments so you can sit there and be like, yeah, people are on my side, even though you lied to them and you twisted it. Right, Gemini. The double standards are wild. Oh, I just read off the statistics. 16.9% white people smoke crack, and it's like 9.7% African American. Why is Smashley trying to continue to perpetuate the negative stigma that that drug had on African Americans in the 90s, 80s into the 90s? Because more white people smoke crack than anything, actually. But it's okay coming from somebody who racially charges everything. It's not her first time. I've corrected her on it before, even with Queen E. With the whole kiss my white ass comment, I took a box and I told her, you added race, it's racially charged. She has a right to be mad. And I was against Queen E at the time. So, where's the sense? Where does Smashley get her logic from? It's from, please guys, help me attack him. I'll call him anything. She already called me a P3BO twice to end my live, let alone whatever else she said about me in her live. It's her begging, her following. Please, I can't be wrong and he's right. Please help me slander him. Please help me silence him. It ain't gonna work, Smashley. You can sit over there like a cocky asshole with a bunch of unknown numbers and Miss Unknown running around like a crackhead. She's a crackhead because she's a crackhead. She smokes crack. She uses the drug crack cocaine. That is why she is a crackhead. Understand that. Because you laughed when I called Miss Unknown a crackhead in your box, Smashley. Do you not remember that? Huh. Funny how that works, huh? I'll find that clip. I know I got it. It's up on YouTube. I remember. I've been calling Miss Unknown a crackhead forever now, so I'll look through a couple months of Smashley's footage for me in a box and her laughing when I make those jokes, and I say that. Oh, and the fact that E.T. is racist now, yes. Smashley is watering down racism as a whole, and she is demeaning races as she does it. I apologize to anybody out there who sees that and sees that Smashley is only out for what she feels like she will put her on top, win her the argument that she didn't contribute to the death of a man. And why racism is being used, I don't know. Ask Smashley. She's the one that brought it up. It's very simple for me to not call Miss Unknown a crackhead. All she has to do is leave me and my people the fuck alone. Go off and be a crackhead somewhere else, and I will not call you a crackhead in my space. Hey Trish, how are you? Hey Kelly, how are you? Just as Rutina, Holly Mae, and Smashley could have stopped way before that man died, they want me to stop now. Good morning. I'm going to grab an audio real quick, and I'm going to play it too. Okay, it is sending to my other device. I want you to hear the tone of voice. Yes, Mallory, there are stigmas created through history that a lot of people don't know about. It's the same reason I asked Mittens to do research about the meme that 600 people didn't call out in Queen of All Trades Live as being any kind of racist whatsoever. Because it could be misconstrued as or used as racism. But the only way, the surefire way that people use it as racism is to twist it and frame it as such when it's not that. And that's what Smashley is doing. There is a stigma around it, but I call these a rich crackhead too. I stand on it not being racist. I feel it becomes racist when Smashley inserts race and tries to weaponize it to her advantage. Right. Not a single soul said a thing in that clip where Regina spelled that word. Also, the audio of Miss Unknown that people continuously replayed and continuously said, crack pipe. He said crack pipe. He said, give me your crack pipe. Why do I still think that it said credit card? I'm like the only one that's like stuck to my original. I heard credit card. Holly Mae, I have a video of her saying that shit said crack pipe. That bitch is a crackhead. Okay, Smashley, get it, Holly Mae, get it, your murder accomplice. Me too, Mallory. I think it's a credit card, and I was friends with Miss Unknown at the time, and I know people thought I was just saying it, but even now, I still think it says credit card. I never switched it based on my opinion of somebody. That don't matter to them though, because Smashley can insert race into stuff and try to weaponize it and become racist herself doing it because she's using race as a way to benefit herself. But it's not benefiting her though. It doesn't work. I've got too much of a history of just not being racist. Of standing against it, of speaking out against it. It doesn't bother me, but it bothers me that Smashley is showing signs of it. Racially charged insults, using race as a weapon. Not even her own race, using other people's races as a weapon. But let's play that clip again that nobody said a word about.
She sent me this message after I said, why are we even
give you guys a moment to absorb that. Then absorb this one. Listen to the tone of voice.
Shit, you need to check on your friend, your semi-friend, whatever you want to call Florida bitch.
She doesn't like being named as somebody who attributed to somebody's death with her behavior online, being the super victim, lying about people calling her abuser and inciting people to think within their parasocial relationship with her that they needed to help her and get revenge, right, Holly Mae? You need to think about your actions online and how you're inciting people, because you ain't got no fucking personality and you don't have a fucking thing to make content about because you look at Bougie and say she's evil and that's your content, you dumbass. And you killed a man with Smashly and Ratina. Congratulations. I'll never let you live that down. Yeah, Breezy it was. It was after my little, hey guys, this is how Holly Mae, Ratina, and Smashly contributed to this man's death live. Concerned him. The Patreon chat was like, we need to just not pay attention to him. All of a sudden, everybody wants to turn the other way and be like, well, I mean, fuck it. He's just crazy. Don't listen to him. But they have shit to talk every other time. So let's get it. Let me go ahead and keep talking about that since it makes you guys so uncomfortable over there. Let's talk about the Patreon chat post and the real racist stuff. Let's talk about Gloria. Nobody ever talks about Gloria. Gloria said that it's okay. Artie's abuser's dead. She doesn't have to worry about him. Gloria, you also posted monkeys in that Patreon chat. You insensitive racist dickhead. Doc, do you think for yourself? Do you have any logical, like critical thinking at all? Which one are you? Skittles, Cassandra, or Nincompoop, or one of the other people who don't have any critical thinking, who use me as a way to obsess and live? I'm sorry, you guys, that you have to live vicariously through me because you can never be anything for yourself. Have a good night, though. You can sit and listen. Because if we're on the topic of racism, we surely don't want to poke me. And I know people are going to be like, well, how do you know that backup's them? I don't know. I'm just going to start looking at backups like people I don't like. And if it triggers a response that says I'm going to put out what they did to be racist, just to remind everybody, I will. Well, if it ain't y'all better fight against it. Y'all better tell these backups, don't do that shit, because the consequences go right to me. So there you go. Shouldn't be so obsessed with me. Shouldn't even be listening to my live, actually. If you don't like a motherfucker so much, don't watch their live 24/7. I get clips of Smashly being stupid. I don't watch her shit. I don't watch her shit because I don't think I can get any stupider. I don't think I have the room to lose any more brain cells. Drugs already did that. And the drugs were funner than listening to Smashly. Let me advocate that if you want to lose brain cells, you have choices. You can consume content that's like Smashly's, Holly Mae's, Ratina's, Petty's, Or you can actually have fun and just do drugs. You lose less brain cells on drugs and you get high. It's like a win-win. Except don't do drugs. They're bad for you. I can't do drugs anymore. They're bad for me. Now, I put enough of a pause in between the but don't do drugs and the advocating for doing drugs so they can clip it. And they've got a clear spot to clip it and play it. And be like, look, he's advocating doing drugs. I got to give them something. Because they're not standing on anything with the argument that ET is racist. I alone. What was that? People are garbage? Right, Mother Moon. It goes to Artie was on 3 different accounts when she was associating with me. I never once put out that it was her. They kept looking. And Retina's excuse was, oh, it was just a random account. That was a mod. I figured it was Artie. What are you looking at my people for? You were looking, and then you put her info out. Holly Mae put her info out, and then lied about an abuser being contacted. I will say it openly. Holly Mae lied about her abuser being contacted. I'll play it again.
She sent me this message after I said, why are we even entertaining anybody that, said to somebody that they're a NAGGER. Hold on 2 seconds.
And I've already said I'll treat it the same way I treated other similar situations. I'll give Retina a conversation that has education in it, and then, I'm not her friend. So I'll sit back and watch while the people who love to fucking destroy people and love to fucking talk shit about people do the same thing to her, because all I want to see is equal energy. If you're going to do it to one person, you're going to do it to everybody. And I'm more than willing to give that educational conversation to Retina and to watch everybody else trash the fuck out of her forever. Right. Spelling it? Like, who in that live thought spelling it was okay? But I'll give her the same energy I gave others. Educational conversation. But what's really going to piss me off is if the same people who don't trash other people for it don't trash her for it. That's really going to annoy me. And that might make me want to return the energy I don't see given. I don't know. Not because of race, just because of unfairness. Just because of the double standard. Just because they think it's okay. They think there's something better than everybody. They can do it. Nobody else can. Correct. There's other ways to do it. And the conversation that I had with somebody is even if you're quoting a message, you still minimize the word. You use the term, the N-word, or the racial slur, this slur. You don't say the word. You certainly don't spell the entire word out. Like, if saying the N-word is appropriate when replacing the actual word in a sentence, you've used more syllables to spell it all out than even necessary. People know what you say when you say the N-word. They know what you mean. Why did she think it was okay to spell it out? Hey, payroll. It's mind-boggling. And it shows you what people really believe based on their actions towards anybody. Is it because of the word, or is it because they don't like them? I think it's because they don't like them and the word means nothing to them. Because if the word meant something to them, equal energy would be given to everybody who used it within context, of course. It's not like Regina called somebody it. She didn't use it as a direct insult, so I'll give her that part. But I gave that part to other people. I'm showing equal energy across the board. But there were people that ran around this app and swore up and down that they were called it, that it was directed at them, that people just sat up there and let people call them that. Huh. I wonder if that energy is going to be there. I wonder if the energy that Regina gave is going to be given to herself. The energy that Holly Mae gave, is it going to be given? The energy that everybody over there gave, is it going to be given? Or are they just going to look at everybody and say, y'all are stupid, we can do what we want? I guess we're just going to have to see. I have to go into this with an unbiased view, hoping that people have been giving equal energy to everybody this whole time. And if they're not, I guess I gotta ramp up that energy to really get the energy going in an equal direction. Just because I'm willing to have a conversation and give the education and sit back and watch everybody give the same energy they gave other people. I can understand her sentence and the direction of it to the point where I know she didn't call that to anybody. But my God, if nobody's going to jump in every live for weeks and weeks and months and say that Regina called it to him, if nobody's going to do that, I guess I got to. If nobody's going to twist it, I guess I'm going to have to. Right? If no one's going to be angry about it, I guess I have to. Because that's how this side of TikTok works. Join in on the fun. They are going to say that exactly. They're gonna, just like fucking Miss Unknown said, you can't police what I say. And guess what? I didn't even say anything about it. I wasn't even policing her at the time. I don't give a fuck what you call me. You're a fucking crackhead. Like, the day I give a fuck about what a crackhead calls me is the day y'all need to tell me to get the fuck offline. Okay? And that goes for anybody. If you want to run around the app making incoherent noise, Coach Crystal. You especially. I don't know who's worse, Miss Unknown or Coach Crystal. Right. Miss Unknown is also okay to say the R word of the F slur multiple times. She can say whatever she wants. But nobody's allowed to tell the truth about her. That's why I compare her to Coach Crystal. Coach Crystal is an incoherent mess that doesn't know what she believes. I've heard a lot of stuff about Coach Crystal. I've seen a lot of clips about Coach Crystal, and it's a mess. But you know what the messiest part about it is? Pete's goofy looking ass is the messiest part of that. Like, holy shit, I've never seen a goofier looking motherfucker than Pete. Again, reading. It goes back to other situations where people were reading. It doesn't change the fact that you can abbreviate it. They're going to say it was in Blue's username. Blue is in that community. Blue can use his word however he chooses to use it to take back power. That's cool. I'm good with that. That doesn't give me the right to use it. That does not give Miss Unknown the right to use it. That does not give anybody else the right to use it, especially in a derogatory way. That is what it is. Right, House of Lies, Coach Crystal, and that fucking, I need Bougie's info to call her husband's base and say that she's spending money on Cash App on TikTok or whatever she said. Coach Crystal. Stop. What are you doing? Good morning, Reds. The day I give a fuck about the judgment of somebody who has met up with Pete more than once is the day that you guys have to take my phone away and say, get the fuck offline. If we don't know Pete, Pete's the guy that always wears the hoodie and the hat, and he always makes like weird faces and stuff, but he never speaks to me directly. So I'm just sitting over here dogging on them, and he's just being a little bitch, not saying anything back. Because he knows his place. I'm not somebody he can ask money from. Just like when I found his dating profile. He just needs a couple bucks to get him by to his next couple bucks. What does he give in return? Hope that he may one day pay you back. Yeah, so when it comes to Holly Mae and Regina and Unknown saying and spelling slurs about the pitchforks, yeah, they used them on everybody else. But don't worry, if someone else does something they can twist, they'll have one handy. Shows where their real beliefs are. I mean, haven't they went at people for having Cash Apps in their bio? For having PayPals in their bio? And didn't they all just drop their fucking Cash Apps? Am I the only one left who hasn't put their Cash App out for people to pay? I feel like I'm the only one left who is fucked with people about having a PayPal in their bio, who hasn't put a Cash App in their fucking bio. Before the live they had about Desi, where they cried about a baby that they themselves said was fake, and then Malibu popped up and said, I'll call because she's a pick-me. And then she called a wellness check to pretend like she cared, but really it was to call him back again and again and see if there was confirmation on the baby being real. That's disgusting. The baby is real, by the way. It's just all giving. I didn't fake my death. I just lied about being alive. Across the board. All of them. That can be applied to every situation that they have ever been in. That hard to process statement. Because it's hard to process how they can pretend they care and blatantly not at the same fucking time. How do you give a fuck and not give a fuck equally at the same time? I don't know how people can say, fuck you, that's wrong, and I'm going to say it loud so I look better, and then look at the same people that you just did that act in front of and say the same shit. And it's okay with everybody. But oh no, not you. You would never. You're Regina. You're Holly Mae. You're Smashley. Y'all are fucking weird. Are y'all pity liking these people? Are they just so fucking stupid that y'all are like, I can't be mean to them? Somebody's got to pat him on the back. It's okay. You did good. Is that it? Right, Reds. Right, Pet at House of Lies. You cannot cry about a baby that you don't believe is real. Malibu. All of you over there. They're weird as fuck. We don't believe there's a baby, but we need to make sure the baby's okay. Also known as, I didn't fake my death, I just lied about being alive. I just lied about being alive. It's amazing. I know. It sounds like mind-boggling, like someone would actually say, we don't believe there's a baby, but we need to make sure the baby's okay, and then call an actual fucking wellness check on people. Does anybody really, okay, so I've been saying that the crowd is gaslighting them to be fuck-ups. Are they doing that to, attack me? Are they like, we don't like that motherfucker, so let's gas this person up to annoy him because we know people being stupid annoys him? Or do people, they really can't think this way? They really can't be serious about, we don't believe there's a baby, but we gotta call and check on the baby. I was not aware that it was 3 days late. That reinforces what I thought even more, that they probably weren't even concerned about anybody, just just to see if their opinion that the baby wasn't real was right. Who are they going to get called out by? Dora? Dora exploring whose Cash App she can gain access to this week? Isn't it weird that every time Dora, quote, helps somebody, she suddenly has access to their Cash App, their bank, their emails, all that stuff. Dora, what'd you do to Bernadette? You got awfully friendly with Bernadette and got access to her Cash App. What was that? Let's talk about T and why she left the app for 2 weeks about a year ago. What set T off today? Why'd her husband get so mad? Because I made a comment that said that T's husband spends less time on Grindr than T does on TikTok. And that caused T to be like, motherfucker, give me your phone. Let me see if you're back on Grindr. He must have been. She uninstalled it. Slammed that closet door shut right on him. At least this time, he didn't go racial with it. He didn't drop the N-word. He didn't drop the homophobic slurs that he dropped the last time he got caught on Grindr. That's progress. Right, Mother Moon. It's a habit with Dora to be like, I'm a good person. I'm going to do donations to myself, to my pocket. Dora, your pocket is not a GoFundMe. If it was, Rutina would have been in it. I truly believe that Rutina I believe that Rutina purposefully contributed to that man's death just so she could take advantage of a GoFundMe that could be made for him. Oh, I feel him. Like, he threatened me because he was mad because I said something about it. And T checked his phone, uninstalled Grindr, and said, you can't do that. And he was just like, fucking Florida man got me caught. Sir, be yourself. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. There's no shame. You'll feel much better. You won't have all that anger. At least this time you did not throw the racial and homophobic slurs that you threw the last time, which caused T to leave the app for 2 weeks. But to piss them off even further, I don't know if anybody heard what T said about the gas stations. Yes, it's a dating app. LGBTQ dating app. T was mad that he got caught on it, and she brought it. I think she said something to him about it. They were yelling about it, and he went off on the most racial shit, most homophobic shit ever. And T had to leave the app for 2 days for about 2 weeks because she got, quote, canceled for that time. But the thing is, if he's going to say that stuff behind the scenes, and I bet now it's just like, watch what you say for TikTok, not watch what you say in general, because that shit's wrong. Yep. Yep. And I don't like it. I don't like that he acts that way, though. It is progress. But for a comment to invoke such hate out of somebody, it still tells you where he sits. It still tells you what he really thinks. And it's not okay. It's not okay for Dora, who is in close proximity to that kind of hatred. Dora can scam all she wants and look at us like we're stupid, like we don't know. We know what Dora's doing. We all know what Dora's doing. We have all seen it. We have all been like, this isn't anything new. You're just doing this because you can make money off of it. It's the bad person pretending to be a good person. And that's why anti-scam changed so much. Because slowly but surely, we all found out that the bad people were actually just the ones pretending to be the good people. And it doesn't work no more. If you want to be a piece of shit, Dora, just be a piece of shit. You'll actually make more money that way, being honest with people. You won't invoke so much anger if you say, well, I'm taking donations for storms. Yeah, I'm going to use pictures off of somebody else's TikTok and pretend like I took that picture. And I'm going to say that that picture that's not in my neighborhood is, in fact, in my neighborhood. To get people to send you money? Don't do that. Just go live and say, hey, donate money to me. I might do something with it. I might not. People won't hate you. People respect it because you won't, the money that people send you when you say, hey, I'm probably scamming you, and you're honest about it, well, it looks like somebody was just giving you money. Right, Dora? A list of dentists, sure, I can send you one. Don't dox yourself, though. No, don't be like, I'm in this town. Because then, you'll have Malibu popping up being like, do a wellness check on her. Check on her teeth. See if she really went to the dentist. It was a text. Just in this live chat. No, you're fine. You're fine. You gotta be careful though, because now Malibu's watching that text. She's gonna jump up and be like, we need to wellness check her because we need to make sure she went to the dentist. Even though she doesn't care if you went to the dentist or not. She just wants to make sure that you went. Because that's all the sense this app makes and the people on it. From wellness checking babies that they don't believe exist, to lying about being alive, to avoid the accusation of faking your death, to Pastor Petty's existence as a whole being confusing of how he can hit so many large crimes. People are just like, I'm good with child abuse. I don't understand any of it. Which brings me to my next point. about not throwing stones in glass houses. And there are good reasons why we should not throw stones in glass houses. I can't name any at the moment. Maybe I could visualize one. Maybe we could all visualize one. Now, I'm not talking about anybody in particular. I don't know what anybody's talking about. One figure is named Pastor, and one figure is named Petty. That is not one individual. That is not one person. That is one person named Pastor, one person named Petty. This is not a visualization of a pop figure abusing a child. This is not about anybody's child abuse charges. I fucking lie. This is about Pastor Petty blatantly beating the fuck out of his child till he was bloody, and then tried to pin him for being a pedophile and lied on that child to try to get out of those charges. That is exactly what this is about. I ain't gonna do no wordplay. Fuck you, Petty. Get off other people's shit. Talk about your own shit before you talk about someone else's shit. How you gonna sit there and even think that you can talk about somebody else's shit when you beat your child? Ain't nobody around you telling you that. Ain't none of the people in the congregation being like, wait a minute. Petty beat the fuck out of his kid and then lied on him in an attempt to get out of the charge. You wild. You wild for that one, Petty. You even wilder for wanting to dirty text fucking Sunshine. Oh, I got reported. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my 7 a.m. like routine with like getting better and all that. And I'll be back live after that. But first, I would like to show you guys T's husband's Mr. T. Hey, good morning. Say what again? Oh, I'm fully rested. Oh, yeah, Petty should not be talking on other people's anything before he talks the truth on his own. Not his truth, the actual truth, where he beat his child and then lied on him and tried to paint him out to be a piece of radio just to get out of the charges. Petty claimed that the son that he beat touched his younger son. That did not happen. And he is constantly went online afterwards to try to use that story to get people to pity and to be like, oh, a father just doing what he has to do. Excuse the fuck out of me, Petty. But is it not right for a mother to do what she has to do? Is it only right for a father to do what he has to do? But why are you lying about it? Are you jealous that you didn't do what you had to do? You just lost your cool? And is that why you talking? I'll talk more about that later, though. About Petty. Because people's actions are really eye-opening. I don't speak on her situation. I stand with friends with attitudes. I don't agree with anybody speaking on her situation. Due process is a thing. Everybody should be presumed innocent until proven guilty. Yeah, I did. I did. I'm not taking any sensationalized news from anybody. If Friends with Attitudes wants anybody to know, she'll tell you herself, and that's my statement on that. But I'm gonna get ready. I'm gonna do my thing, and then I'll be back live a little bit later. I'm probably gonna go live when Petty goes live, just so I can taunt him a little bit. Yeah, of course, 100%. You can use any parts of my live you want to. Indian Outlaw, you're totally fine. Yep. Have a good day. I'll be back on in a few hours.